What's up, you guys? It's Kalei Poteet. I am so happy to have you on here. I respect your time and just thank you for spending time with us on here. We're going to have a very special guest today. Been having a lot of really enlightening conversations about trucking and transportation, and we want to bring the best thought leaders that we can possibly find to help identify bottlenecks, bring solutions, and of course, just their insights into the industry that could potentially help you navigate your business at any level, right? So if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. Mr. Jay Reyes, is that how you pronounce
That
it?
is correct. Jay Ray is here.
Awesome, awesome.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. And I guess just starting off, Jay, could you kind of just tell, the audience that have never heard of you, who you are, how you got started, and kind of like your role at the company?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, my name is Jay Reyes. I am actually originally from Guatemala, a little country here in Central America. And we actually started about almost 3 years ago. We are founded in Virginia, the state of Virginia. That's where we have our headquarters. And we basically serve anywhere from all the USA, Canada, Mexico. We also do container and road shipping, basically anywhere that clients need. We've shipped to Africa, we've shipped to Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Colombia, Chile, and many other countries. We actually got a couple of those going to Colombia right now, things going to Costa Rica. We ship
Mm,
to Guatemala as well, to our country. And it's just been an awesome journey, honestly. It's one of the things that I think has changed the whole way that I see life itself,
mm,
the way that businesses run their businesses as well. Like you see people shipping. We've shipped furniture over to Greece. We've shipped heavy equipment over to basically all these countries that I just mentioned. And that's actually what we specialize in.
mm,
Mostly heavy equipment, oversized, overweight, and we've seen a very good niche in that area, and a lot of people that actually need this service, that that are looking to either sell it or bring it for their business, and they also use it to make roads and make it to make hospitals, schools. So at the end of the day, I think it's one of the things that makes me really happy, that I know that the things that these machines are doing out there in the world, are definitely beneficiary. And also the other things, containers of products, of produce, of many other things that people use.
mm,
I think it's a great industry to get into, and it's a beautiful art. You never stop
mm,
learning. You learn things every day. It's not like any other industry where you see the same things every day.
mm,
Every load has its challenges. Every load makes you specialize in different areas, and I think
mm.
that's one of the most beautiful things. That you don't encapsulate yourself into just regular knowledge. You have to basically learn about a lot of things, daily, and that's one of the things that I really love about this industry.
Nice, man. Yeah, I'm actually going to Colombia next week. This will be my first time to, I wouldn't say South America. I love Tulum, Mexico, Cancun, but I definitely wanted to start exploring a little bit more southern, right?
Awesome.
Which I think is definitely going to bring a different perspective and just cultural uh viewpoints all together, right?
Most definitely.
So what does like a typical day look like for you?
Well, basically, we start very early. Early bird gets the worm. That's what they say. So I think that's one of the main models that we run here at Land Energy Logistics INT. It's waking up early, being available on our calls. Most of the time, we usually wake up very early to post loads. To make sure we got drivers that are looking to get out of the certain areas, and make sure that we get the best possibilities to get drivers. After that, we do a lot of call calling. We check out platforms like LinkedIn,
Mm,
websites, resellers. We basically we touch a lot of doors. There's a lot of platforms as well as like YouShip, VeriTread, and we kind of go go all over. I know there's a lot of things, I guess, challenges that you could see in this areas. That there's a lot of brokers, there's a lot of shippers, there's a lot of carriers that are hitting these platforms. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to get a load that pays well. You have to kind of fight, off brokers that are, lowering your price for like $100, to get the load. And
mm,
you see many of these different things in the industry, and that's why we're actually moving into a better option right now. We actually got a team of tech guys, working on our AI agents, I guess you could say. We're getting into this new era. I think that basically whoever doesn't jump into that train, it's going to get left behind. And I'm sure that you've probably seen this as well,
mm,
in your side, that there's a lot of people applying AI tools, to be able to be more effective. And I think that's kind of where the shipping industry is going to go to. They're going to go to AI agents that could help you with blogging, that could help you with emails, that could help you with answering clients. And I
mm,
think that's actually one of the things that we're really getting into,
mm,
and we're testing out a few bots right now to make them collect leads, or give follow ups with clients,
mm.
and keep our tools up to date as well.
I got you. Which tools do you are you familiar with right now, or what are you guys using internally? Is it certain CRM systems, or is it
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a CRM that we're starting to look at. It's called the Go High Level, where you
okay?
can actually introduce all these AI tools that are gonna be feeding the system
Yeah.
with different roles in AI agents.
Mm,
Have a lot of these new techs, that can get actually connected to this platform, and
mm,
that's actually where we're heading out to, to connect a CRM that can, not only just provides data or loads and things like that, it
mm.
can actually get fed from all these other different tools into it.
Yeah, Go High Level was definitely our go-to. I think we've been using it
Are
for
you using
about
that too?
yeah, we've been using it for about 2 years. It took me about 6 months to actually learn it.
Yeah, it's a tool that takes some time. It can do anything in that tool. So
Yeah, yeah.
definitely you have to invest some time into it, and get people that actually know what they're doing as well.
Mm, yeah, 100%. They're actually sponsoring because flying back to Orlando this Thursday. They sponsored the event last year as well. They'll be there again this year.
Sweet.
So I was able to meet a lot of people that worked at the company, and then
Good.
so it's called Creator Hub in Orlando. It's a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll definitely be making some connections as far as what's
Nice.
up with some new
That's a
development.
that's actually great to
Mm,
it's great to get into this industry and know the actual people behind these type of tools. I think you can really make a difference in the way that you actually use them, and you apply them into your business.
yeah, and then of course all of the AI components are typically being built to kind of run off the back end of it, which I think is super cool as
Yeah.
well. I
Yeah,
would
they
love to
really go
know.
hand in hand.
Yeah, I would love to know like what are some major shifts that you're actually seeing in the industry right now?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I think based on what I've seen so far, a lot of people, they got a little bit worried about taxes and all that, about the changes that the current administration is doing in the U.S. And I think some of these things have held people back, into investing, into transporting. International loads, for example, Canada, Mexico, and things like that. I've seen a little bit of a slowdown in that area, but nothing that cannot be, changed as well. I've seen
Mm,
things getting a little bit better here and there. It's just, I think during the year, that's the main thing that has kept shippers, from moving a lot. But they open up here and there, just depending on how these things run by. They play it by ear.
mm. Do you feel like that trend has kind of impacted your guys' business or growth strategy?
And yeah, for us, absolutely. Because like I said, we specialize mostly on people, exporting equipment and things like that.
Mm,
So, for example, we do a lot of Canada to the U.S. or Canada to Dominican Republic and Africa and things like that.
mm,
And sometimes I felt like these guys have slowed down in a sense in that way. For example, I just got off the phone with one of my guys in the Dominican Republic that I visited like 3 months ago out
mm,
there. And he says he's got like 10 machines that they haven't sold. He's actually held back right now to keep investing and purchasing more machines. I spoke to another guy from Mexico. He says he's got some really good deals going to Mexico, but they're holding up. due to seeing how these things are going to play out,
Mm,
and I guess that's one of their main concerns at this point.
yeah.
There's still a few things moving, but not as much as it has.
Mm.
So I think hopefully things get better in that sense.
So that's very interesting because it's not just a domestic thing, like a US thing. It's more of like a geopolitical thing where it's just kind
Yeah,
of,
remember that at the end of the day, they all depend on. I mean, U.S. is one of the biggest exporters in equipment, and in products as well,
uh,
So if things, kind of, hold up in that sense, everybody's kind of concerned in investing their money, because they
right.
have to see a return on it. And when it comes to paying more, it just means that the customer at the end, he's going to be the one, getting the hit, and if there's not a margin for them to purchase, there's not a sense for these guys to keep investing, if things are not moving in their countries.
Yeah, got you. Well, that was yeah, that's super interesting. Well, let me ask you, what do you feel is kind of like working really well for you guys right now, and then kind of what's outside of that? What's kind of been most frustrating?
Yeah, well, I mean, the things that are working very well, inside the US, a lot of things going to different states
Yeah,
and stuff like that, moving inside. We've been shipping a lot to ports as well, that we work with a few shipping companies that request quotes. We've had a couple good loads there, but that's their clients directly, going to other countries as well.
mm,
So, I mean, some countries are moving. Some of the ones that we're usually used to moving, they're not moving that much. But there's always work, man. That's the beauty of this industry. That things need to still move. People are not going to stop. If one side stops, there's another side that that
mm,
picks up. So in that sense, as long as you keep doing your homework and your follow
mm.
up, you're always going to have work in this industry. I'm a firm believer on that.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Is there like a certain market research process that you use? I know you mentioned, LinkedIn, websites, is this, how do you know when?
Auctions, we keep a look at on auctions, in certain platforms as well. And like I told you, we're working some email marketing campaigns
Mm,
and basically just always try to knock on some doors. That's actually how I started in the industry myself.
yeah,
About 6 years ago. Basically, I was doing 350 calls in a day, and people were like making fun of me, that saying that I was calling the same number. They're like, "Oh, this guy's
yeah,
calling the same number to get those numbers." And at the beginning, in this industry, it's very challenging. It's like
mm,
a bunch of people that are hungry as well. You got a bunch of people that are hitting the phones, and when they see something like this, they kind of think, "Oh, this guy's just bluffing." But
mm,
I was getting there at 6 a.m. I was leaving about 7, 8 p.m. with one of my guys that showed me the industry, and we were just hustling, man. We
yeah,
weren't gonna let this opportunity pass by.
mm,
And at the beginning, I believe it's challenging. The industry will challenge you to see if you really want it.
mm,
And once you're able to prove that you do want it, you just have to keep it going. And that's one of the things that changed my life. It changed my whole mentality of how to do things. You have to basically you know take no for an answer. You know what I mean? Not take no for an
yeah,
answer, and just kind of outwork everybody. I think hard work beats talent any day of the week. I
nice.
mean, talent just opens up the door. But hard work will keep it open. And make it. And it will open some other doors that talent just won't. If you're not consistent and hungry about it. And people will see it. At the beginning, they'll treat you like you're nothing. They'll be like, "Hey, yeah, this guy's just calling the same number." But after you're getting the numbers and you're selling in the top three, then they start talking to you different. Hey, top, hey, crack, how are you, man?
Right, right.
It's hilarious. How it changes. But that's the way it works. You have to earn your reputation.
Mm,
By action. People don't care. How much you've suffered,
mm,
how hard it is for you, or if you're waking up early, if you're going home late. People just want to see the outcome of the results. The results are the ones that matter here.
yeah, 100%, man. I mean, 350, that's a lot in one day.
So I was hitting those calls and cold calling like crazy, man. Like I built I built a list of over 2,000 contacts in less than 6 months.
Mm,
I've added very few after that, because I've had so much work, and so much
mm,
follow-ups and so much work by these guys, that have kept me busy, but I think that's kind of what it takes when you're starting in the industry.
mm,
Um, it's like flying a plane, you have to put all the fuel, all the gas,
mhm.
to the top, to be able to take air,
Yeah,
and once you're in the air, you're able to chill out a bit, and kind of coast. But if you don't have that boost at the beginning, it's gonna be very hard to take off the ground.
yeah, 100%, man. With that being said, like what metrics are you guys focused on improving right now?
We're recently, we're focusing a lot on calls. Usually, calls are about 100 a day, per
Mm,
agent. Text messages and hitting new marks on the platforms as well. How many bids you're able to put in.
mm,
Like I said, I wasn't really big on platforms myself. I wasn't getting those accesses back then.
mm,
And there's some people they do very good on platforms, and they don't do a lot of calling. So a lot of people do a lot of text instead of calling because they don't feel as comfortable, in the phone. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways to get the deal, and I
mm,
think that's one of the things that is beautiful about this industry. There's many ways you can make money, as long as
mm,
you're creative and you hustle on it. You can make it by text, you can make it by email, you can make it by platforms,
mm,
and you can make it by the phone. So it really all depends on what your strong side is. And we don't just focus on calls or things like that.
mm,
We focus on the things that are working for the agent.
mm.
Not everybody's going to be the same. Not everybody's going to feel comfortable on the phones. Not everybody's going to feel comfortable on the tests. But I think it's a way of mixing it up and see kind of what works for the agent, and to follow through on what they see they're having a success in.
Got you. So when you're training a new agent, how do you get to identify what they're kind of best at? Do you kind of train them on each process and kind of see where they
Yeah,
excel?
absolutely. They have to train all processes. At the end of the day, you have to learn how to do everything and kind of go your own way and see what the best side is. I mean, if you don't try it, you're not gonna know what's gonna work for you. If
Right.
you just stay in one thing and it doesn't work, then you're just gonna throw the towel. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what happens with people that they see this as too difficult, and it's not for everybody. I think success is for everybody,
Mm.
but not everybody is built for success, or willing to do what is needed.
Wow.
And I think that's it all depends on how much you trust yourself and how
Mm,
much you believe in what you're doing, because you can have all the tools, you can have all the knowledge, you can have everything in your hands,
mm,
but if you're not investing the time and if you're not believing what you're doing is gonna it's gonna pay out, you're just shooting blanks at the
mm,
end of the day. For
yeah.
me, when I heard the money that people can make in this industry, I wasn't gonna take less until I made it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a main decision. I see my friends making money, like I'm not gonna stop until I see that money in my pocket.
Mm,
And that's actually what I think. I think the mindset you have to have in this industry. You have to
mm,
be very, very sure of what you're getting into. Because I
mm,
mean, I'm sure there's a lot of jobs that can pay you an okay salary. That you can live off of.
mm, yeah.
But to actually be able to build something and invest in something, and
Mm,
it's gonna be a different type of job, man. It's not something that everybody can do.
yeah.
But I mean, it's something that everybody can do, but not something that everybody's not willing to do.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely agree with that. The interest for transportation doesn't seem to be going anywhere. There's always new people that's looking to get into the industry every day. But, resilience is a big thing. Mindset, of course, is a big thing.
So
If you could solve one major challenge today, what would that be?
if I could solve I think one major challenge here, I think one of the biggest challenges is to build trust. And I think that's one of the things that is not that easy to just tackle. And that's where It's what actually works, you know. That's why it takes some time to be successful in this industry. You know, you want to build trust, you want people to know what you're able to do, you know. But if you're not consistent, if they're not able to see you or be able to trust that you're going to be available when you say you're going to be available, it's
Mm,
one of the biggest challenges in the industry. You know, it's easy to find loads, it's easy to find clients. It's very easy to know who is the one that's going to be shipping, but the hard part is to actually build that trust and build that rapport with them, you know. And I think that's one of the things that people that are trying to look into getting into the industry have to understand, you know. It's not something that you build up, you know, from day to night, you know. And you have to be consistent, you have to be like you say, resilient, you know. And you have to be sure of that what you're offering to them is the right is a I think the honesty and
mm,
being transparent is one of the main assets that you can have here. There's a lot of shady people that try to get into the industry with lies and a lot of different, you know, bad practices. But
mm,
that's actually what you find when you find a good carrier or a good broker, you know, is you're finding somebody that's it's like trying to mine gold. If you find somebody that can be trustworthy, that is honest, and that is gonna do what he says, and that he's being transparent,
right.
you know, that's actually the actual goal in the industry, you know. Because I mean, you can find a lot of shippers, you know where they're at. The
Mm,
money is being printed every day, you know. So what is the actual price here? You know, it's yourself. You know, you're the one. You're the price. You know, you if you're a good person that is looking to do good things with honesty and transparency, people are gonna look for you and they're gonna try to do business with you and bring you into the projects. You know, if you're somebody that's not trustworthy or somebody that's not available when it says it's gonna be available, then people are not gonna want to work with you. You know, if
mm,
somebody tells you, you know, call me at 12 at noon tomorrow, you know, and you're not available or you're not calling, you know, how are they going to trust their stuff is going to move on time, you know? And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I see for people joining into the industry right now. Obviously, there's a lot of other things, you know, like having the right knowledge of what you're offering to the clients, knowing the right type of trailer or truck that you need for them, knowing the routes, knowing the percentages of mile rates that are moving. But that all comes, you know, with practice and with knowledge of doing these things, you know, over and over again.
great insight, man. I think that was something a lot of people needed to hear, for sure. So, what do you guys feel like, you guys are headed in the next 6 to 12 months? What's kind of like on your roadmap?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's kind of paving the road for my guys. You know, I try to be a leader in the actual things that I do. You know, I'm not the type of person that just stays in the office and
Mm,
just says, make these calls, look for clients, close the deals.
mm,
I'm out there, in first line, doing the deals, doing the closings, showing them how to do it, doing cold calls for them. I'm actually traveling to different locations. I'm actually going to Mexico here in a couple weeks. I got a planning going to Colombia as well, to Cartagena, where we ship a lot of things to. I just got back from Dominican Republic, and I went to Europe last year. I'm planning to go to Europe as well to the end of the year. So I'm trying to show them, the type of life that you can live, by doing it myself and showing them, how I'm able to connect with my clients and how I'm able to build this relationship that doesn't just take me to talk to them on the phone, so that I can actually go there, visit them, shake their hands and see the equipment that I'm shipping to their country as well, in real life,
yeah,
and taking pictures with it, and,
right,
and
right.
showing them, that what it's possible to do, and the type of life that you can build
Mm,
by being transparent, by building long-term relationships and being honest and available all the time.
wow, man, good leadership is definitely a skill set. Um, and it's great that you are
Absolutely. Yeah, I
embodying.
mean, it's tough, man. Believe me, in 3 years, it takes. Sometimes you feel like you're not going anywhere,
Mm,
and that sometimes you feel like you're going somewhere, and then you got some things happening, and I mean, it's definitely a roller coaster, man. But like I said, you just have to keep focused. You have to keep pushing, and things will work out.
100%, 100%. Well, awesome, man. I would love to know if you could kind of go back to when you first started. What's like one or two takeaways or really good nuggets that you would want to tell yourself at that point?
Okay, so at that point, I think To be honest, I think I started the right way, pushing those numbers like how I could. For example, my first month was what can I say? It wasn't more than what $200, what I made.
Wow.
Since it's all paid by commission, you don't get any. When the company that I was, you didn't get any base salaries or anything like that.
Mm,
My second month, I made like $1,000. And I was like, well, I'm making a little bit better than other places. And my third month, I made $5,000. My fourth month, I made like dollars. So I could see the exponential growth,
mm,
and that's the way that I've been trying to keep things. That's how I was able to open my own company and be able to provide this opportunity to other people as well. To be able to have these type of payments, and the exponential growth that you can build.
mm.
I mean, I guess there's always things that you could tell yourself, but I mean, I can just say that, hitting those phone numbers like crazy, it's one of the things that has taken me here, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely essential. Absolutely
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essential for
And
sure.
become obsessed, become obsessed with your growth, become obsessed with the knowledge that you have. And I think if you're obsessed, committed, and
Mm,
and basically those things will take you places you never thought you would be, in a
awesome,
time
man.
that you never even thought you could do things.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
mean, I could show you my office so you can see where we're at.
Yeah, let's check it out.
And this is the type of stuff we do here. We're here in the main city where we have the progress. This is our little.
Okay, nice, nice.
That's kind of what we do right now. A lot of people are at lunch right now,
Yeah,
but this is where we have the. Is what,
that is amazing, man. That is beautiful. That is beautiful.
so like I
Congratulations.
said, there sometimes you could be in a place where you never thought in a
Mm,
few years after you spend, many years doing the same thing, in a few years you can change your whole life around and you can
mm,
give those type of opportunities to other people as well.
yeah. Wow. That is a beautiful office, man. That's very
Thank you, bro.
inspiring.
Appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, it's all been done with tears and
Mm,
a lot of hard work, and hopefully we're hoping to expand and to offer people home jobs as well.
mm,
Just kind of trying to invest in different technologies as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, let's jump back on that before we wrap up. Where do you kind of see AI heading as you're adopting it now? Where do you see it kind of being best used moving forward? I know it's hard to kind of.
Yeah, I think agents have a real hard time in their follow ups. They
Mm,
think that making the first contact is gonna be what's gonna take them to the next level. But from my experience, man, you have to make at least 5 to 8 contacts before you even get a load.
mm,
And that's kind of, I think, where AI can actually really kill it. You're doing this text follow-ups, email follow-ups. I mean, you even got robocalls right now.
mm.
So at the end of the day, I think a lot of these things are gonna change the game. Where people are gonna be able to hear about your company, hear about you're able to do, maintain a constant follow-up, a constant thought in their heads that you're available and that you exist.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where it's gonna change the whole game.
Hmm.
Of the people that are gonna be on top of their heads, available, to quote anything they need on the spot, and to use these technologies to be able to do the contacts that you need and that you're kind of lazy to do.
100%. Yeah, that's a big one. Follow up is definitely a big one. Yeah, I built an automation that kind of just consistently just follows up no matter what until it accomplishes what I'm trying to do essentially. But
Absolutely.
um, yeah, this has been great, man. I really appreciate the conversation, the connection. Um, I have to get to Guatemala eventually. I think I'll be heading out there.
Absolutely, man. Whenever you want, we're here and available to help you out, to take you around. And if you're gonna be in Mexico, if you're gonna be in Colombia, let me know. We can plan it out. We can meet there as well.
Yeah. How far is Guatemala from Colombia? Like how
Uh,
far is that?
I mean, it's about a 3-hour flight, I believe. It's
Oh,
not that
okay.
much, you know?
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I want to see Colombia. I think that's my first stop. I definitely want to check out Mexico City.
Yeah, Mexico's nice. Mexico's beautiful, you know? It's there's a lot of movements over there, you know?
Mm,
It's a big country itself, you know, and they have a lot of big companies that ship and that they use heavy equipment and, you know, things like that for
mm,
their mines, for their different type of industries. So I think Mexico is actually a big one. You know, we've moved a lot of equipment for people from Mexico.
mm.
Uh, you know, they've been one of our best clients since we started. You know, and I think yeah, that's definitely good point to start.
Good to know. Good to know. What do you think about Rio, like Brazil? Is that a
Brazil,
place?
oh man, Brazil is big too in the productivity line. You know, I think it's definitely one of the big guys. You know that do shipping and production of buses and things like that, you know, and equipment. Absolutely, man. I think any country itself, you know, they have a lot of needs. You just have to, you know, knock the right doors. You know,
Mm,
at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of movement in Dominican Republic, you know, and right now that I was there, you know, I was able to see basically the
mm,
area of Santo Domingo. You know, it's a big city. You know, that's kind of you know kind of forgotten, I guess you could say, you know, but you can
yeah.
drive to Punta Cana, you know, about an hour away, you know, and you can see all these new buildings, you know, in Santo Domingo, buildings are, you know, are falling down, you know.
Mm.
I don't know if you heard about this news, you know, that a nightclub, you know, with like over 100 people, you know, like the roof went down, you know.
Wow.
I was like, that's crazy, you know, like once I was there, I could understand why, you know.
Yeah.
It's a location that I guess many years ago was booming, you
Was
know,
booming. Yeah. People
but
forgot
everything
about
just
it.
kinda shifted to other places like Punta Cana and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
And you can see Punta Cana, man, this thing is, you know, it has huge hotels,
Mm,
a lot of construction work going, you know? And then we went up to, Santiago as well, to the north side, you know, we're close to Puerto Plata,
mm,
and I mean, the industry there is crazy as well. You see a lot of, equipment, um, places that sell, you know?
mm,
All over the main road. The city is actually very modern in a sense, you know. I mean, you see a lot of nice cars as well, a lot of Rolls Royces for there and there. So I mean, you can see that there's a lot of money going there. You know,
yeah.
there's a lot of industries shifting their business there. You know, because I guess the labor is cheaper. You know, and
Mm,
things like that. You know, so that's where they're doing their production lines and they're building their warehouses and all that, you know. There's a lot of mines as well, you know.
mm,
So yeah, I mean it was beautiful to be able to connect with those people and you know they'll bring you in the inside as well, you know, of how they do their business and the challenges they also have, you know, into selling
mm,
their equipment, you know, because they have to give credit, you know, and then sometimes these guys, you know, they'll use their machines for a few months, you know, and then they will ask for a run or you know or
yeah.
yeah, so I mean there's a lot of things that happen, you know, so kind of get to hear the way that things go, you know, firsthand by them, you know. Very beautiful people, you know, very happy at the way they communicate with you and very open on providing information. And I mean, I went really with a very good experience from the
Mm.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah. Actually, my partner Steve, he's based in DR.
Really?
Yeah, I
Have you
was
been there?
actually not yet. I was gonna go. Like our other partner Jonah, he does real estate based in Miami. He flew down. I think he stayed for the weekend. I was gonna fly down. I think this was on the 20th last month. So they were there, and then
Nice.
they just flew back to Miami. So they just got there, and then we're going to this event in Orlando together.
Okay.
But he's been in DR, so I definitely want to see that as well. I think he's trying to get his citizenship right now for it. He loves it. He's been out there for a few years, and I got to see it for sure. So
Yeah,
that,
man, it's beautiful. I mean, I rented a car and I drove the whole place, man. I was there for
mm,
like a little over a week, you know. I was
mm,
able to see the main city. I was able to go to Punta Cana. I drove back to Puerto Plata. I went down to Bali. I visited. It was a great experience, man, for me. Very good. 100%.
well, Jay, I really appreciate your time. I want to be respectful of your time. It's definitely been a pleasure. Is there anything you would like to leave the audience with? How can they get in contact with you if they want information?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I just want to thank you for inviting me, man. I think it's a great thing that you're doing, getting into this industry and knocking doors and getting to know the history of business owners and what they've been getting into. I was actually looking at some of the other podcasts you've been doing, and I really, I just want to wish you the best of luck in this journey that you're doing, and to count on me and anytime and anything I could possibly help out here,
Mhm.
in any business that you would like to join or do, man, feel free to contact me. I want to tell everybody that to keep an eye on your videos. And yeah, man, I mean, you guys can contact me at my website. It is landairsint.com. That's where you guys can
Mm.
see our contacts, our phone number, and anything you guys need. You guys can also check out our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. You could look us up as lasLint.com as well. So we have two domains, and all our social media is with LASLINT. You guys can find us in Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Mr. Reyes. We definitely got to stay in contact. If you're watching live, awesome. If you are watching this replay, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. We definitely want to hear what you guys have thought about this. If this has sparked any new ideas, any feedback, we're open to all feedback. So again, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. And I
My pleasure, man.
hope you
Thank you so
enjoy
much
the
for the
rest of
time,
the day.
man. Have a
Absolutely.
blessed one, brother. Thank you for your time.